Hi, it's Kai. What is the secret to a long and happy life? Learn some tips from the pros, from liquor to love and more. Here are 10 of the oldest people and their secrets to life. Number 10, Henry Allingham. Let's start strong with Henry Allingham, who lived to be 113 until he died in 2009. His secret to life? Cigarettes, whiskey, and wild, wild women. Allingham was born in 1896 to an ironmonger's wife in London. He was the world's oldest man and the last surviving member of the Royal Navy to see action in the First World War. His life spanned over 3 centuries and 6 monarchs. He was 67 when John F. Kennedy was assassinated and 73 when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. Anyone who met Henry could not help but to be moved by his vitality, dignity, and humor. He had a rebellious yet kind spirit. In his later years, he made it a point to speak of the war in order to not forget the sacrifice of so many brave young men. "There's a lot I've tried hard to forget," he said when interviewed for The Last Post, the final word from our First World War soldiers in 2005. "I've got a lot to be thankful for. I've had a unique sort of life. I've scraped the barrel, and I've had the cream." Number 9, Jeanne Louise Calment. The oldest person to ever live in our world was named Jeanne Louise Calment, and she lived to be 122 years old and 164 days. When asked on her 120th birthday what she expected from the future, she replied, "I expect a short one." So clearly, she still had a sense of humor and wasn't afraid to use it. You can bet that someone that lived that long had some stories to tell. She lived in Aries, which is important because when she was born in 1875, she got to meet one of the most famous artists in the world, Vincent van Gogh. Yes, she got to meet the legendary painter when she was just 13 years old. According to her, he had come in to buy some paintbrushes at the shop her father owned. She noted that he smelled of alcohol, which is true given who Van Gogh was. Though it should also be noted that Van Gogh went on to paint his famous sunflowers in Aries, so her connection to him is strong indeed. One thing that can definitely be said about Jeanne Louise Calment is that she was never afraid to go and be active throughout her life. For example, when she was in her 80s, she decided to take up fencing. Why? Why not? She was extremely active, not only with a sword, but she was also into cycling. She was still pedaling away even after a century of life. And as if that wasn't enough, she was also an actress. She was in a movie called Vincent and Me at the age of 114, making her the oldest actress in history. She claimed that her secret to a long life was olive oil, 2 pounds of chocolate a week, and she smoked until she was 117. Strange, we were told that smoking would kill you much earlier. Sadly, despite her very long and unique life, Jeanne Louise Calment died in 1997. Number 8, Lucia DeClerck. All right, here's a lady that's been through some serious stuff. She's not exactly the oldest in the world, but Lucia DeClerck is the oldest resident in her New Jersey nursing home. She has lived through the Spanish flu, 2 world wars, and now a COVID-19 diagnosis. At the ripe age of 105, she's offering her secrets to her long life. Free of charge, ladies and gentlemen. She told the New York Times, "Prayer, prayer, prayer. 1 step at a time. No junk food." She also added, "More importantly, eat 9 gin-soaked golden raisins every morning. Fill a jar, 9 raisins a day, after it sits for 9 days. Boom, baby, gin-soaked raisins." Her granddaughter said, "We would just think, 'Grandma, what are you doing? You're crazy.' Now the laugh is on us. She has beaten everything that's come her way." Number 7, Kane Tanaka. The title of the oldest person still alive today goes to Kane Tanaka, who is very much still alive and kicking at the age of 118 years. Kane was born prematurely on January 2nd, 1903, which you would think would ensure that her life didn't go on as long as it did. But it did indeed, which was shocking to her family and her doctors. Hey, When there's a will, there's a way. She was the 7th of 9 children within her family, and she followed many traditions within her family and her nation, including going and marrying Julio Tanaka when she was just 19 years old. Despite not meeting before their wedding day, something that was not unusual in Japan at the time, Kane and Julio went on to have 4 children and adopted a 5th. Julio had his own business, and he personally ran it, but when World War II happened, he had to go and suit up. As such, Kane stepped in and ran the business, as well as looking over her children, as well as her mother-in-law. So clearly, she was a very busy woman. And she's one who has had to deal with many hardships, including one of her sons being captured during the war. Kane was officially presented with the titles World's Oldest Living Person and World's Oldest Living Woman on March 9, 2019 by Guinness World Records. You'd think that a woman like that would take it easy in her old age, but that's not the case at all. In fact, she loves to get up early, go and play games like Othello, of which she is apparently really good at, and she likes to eat a lot of chocolate. At a ceremony celebrating her life, she was given some chocolates and was asked how many she wanted to eat. Her reply? 100. My kind of lady. Number 6, Jessie Gallan. Jessie Gallan gets an honorable mention, not just because she lived to be the oldest woman in Scotland, but also because she really makes me laugh. Her secret to life is eating your porridge and avoiding men. She says they're just more trouble than they're worth. Gallan was born in a cottage with 2 rooms, and growing up, she had to share a bed with her 5 sisters and her brother. She left home at just 13 years old to become a milkmaid. She also adds to her secrets of life to get plenty of exercise and really just never get married. Gallan says, "It's amazing to see how completely different the world is now from the one I grew up in." Sadly, she passed away in her nursing home in 2015 at the age of 109. Number 5, Jiroemon Kimura. Heading now to the male side of things, there is ironically quite a disparity in terms of men living the longest lives. By that I mean there have been 24 people in the recorded history of Guinness that can claim they were the oldest person in the world. Only 2 of them have been males, one of which was Jiroemon Kimura. He lived to the age of 116 years and 54 days before passing away, and when he got the world record for oldest living person at 115, he was given the award by the editor-in-chief of Guinness himself. He was born on April 19, 1897. Jiroemon was the oldest ever Japanese man and the last known man to live across 3 centuries. Impressive. On his birthday in 2012, he shared some of his secrets to a long life, which he says is thanks to eating small portions, with meals 3 times a day of red bean cake and rice. For his last birthday, he dined on grilled fish, steamed rice, and red beans, a Japanese tradition on special occasions. I don't know exactly. Maybe it's all thanks to the sun above me. A modest Kimura told the Telegraph, "I am always looking up towards the sky. That is how I am." Okay, so far I have cycling, chocolate, gin-soaked raisins, and the sun as the secrets to a long life so far. Do you have another one yet? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Number 4, Bob Wayton. One thing that Guinness Book of World Records is very good at is updating their files and records when it comes to ones that are ever shifting. So when Kimura died in 2012, it sent the record into flux because the question was not only whether someone might outlive him, but who was the oldest living male at the time. Well, up until very recently, the answer to that question was Bob Wayton. We say that because he was 112 when he died in May of 2020. Bob Wayton didn't pass away due to the pandemic. Rather, he passed away due to his cancer. His family confirmed that he died peacefully in his sleep at his flat in Alton, Hampshire, UK. Bob lived a very nice life, one that was fully supported by his parents, especially his father. His father worked hard to make sure that Bob could stay in school and even paid extra to ensure that. Bob later moved to Taiwan, where he spent 2 years learning Mandarin and began teaching at a missionary school. In 1937, Bob married his wife Agnes, who was also a teacher. Teachers teaching together. Bob had 10 grandchildren and 25 great-grandchildren. On his life and getting the record for the oldest living male, Bob had this to say: "I can't say I am pleased to hear that the previous holder has died, but I am very pleased that I've been able to live so long and make so many friends." We love Bob. With his passing, the title for the oldest living male is in flux once again, and due to the global pandemic and a lack of clear information, there is no current holder of the record. Number 3, Julio Caesar Mora Tapia and Waldramina Maclovia Quinteros Reyes. Age is more than a number. It also helps cement certain things in life, such as love and how long you're together as a couple. The Guinness Book of World Records was more than happy to have a record for the oldest living married couple, and that went to Julio Caesar Mora Tapia and Waldramina Maclovia Quinteros Reyes of Ecuador. Julio was 110 years old and Waldramina was 104 when the two got the record from Guinness. They have been married 79 years and got the record in August of 2020, which wasn't too long ago when you think about it. I think that's the cutest thing I have ever heard. They've been together longer than they've been apart. They met through her sister's husband, who is Julio Caesar's cousin, and created a beautiful friendship that led to a loving relationship, which resulted in the couple getting married 7 years later. 79 years later, they're still together, still happy, and living life happily in retirement. Their love truly transcended what was expected of them, because various members of their families didn't approve of the marriage, and thus they wed in secret, with only close friends and godparents to watch them. They had 5 kids together, and one of the proudest moments in their life was to watch all of them go to college. Promoting education allowed us to map out a route for all the generations of our great family, the couple agreed. Today, they have a huge family of 11 grandchildren, 21 great-grandchildren, and 9 great-great-grandchildren. Family unity under the rules of love, mutual respect, honest work, and proper education based on family values are the keys to a healthy coexistence, the couple said. Clearly, it works because they're still together. Great advice. Number 2, Ching Yuen. Ching Yuen is a bit of a tricky subject to discuss in terms of how old he lived, mainly because between when he claimed to have been born and others saying that he was much older than that. He died in 1933 at the alleged age of 256, and many have told this tale because it seemed to defy the odds and go well beyond when people were said to be able to live. Do recall that the oldest confirmed person to live was 122, so he was 75 years older than that person at minimum if the stories are to be believed. So how did he live so long? Well, that's part of the mystery. He was said to be an herbalist and once met a monk who, according to legend, was 500 years old and was taught special exercises, breathing techniques, foods to eat, and so on. Again, none of this is confirmed, and yet his legend endures. Hold on, let me go find a monk to teach me his ways. Number 1, Agnes Fenton. Agnes Fenton was born Agnes Jones on August 1st, 1905, in Holly Springs, Mississippi. She lived to the incredible age of 112. And how did she do it? Agnes credited her long life to Miller High Life and Johnnie Walker Blue Label. She was given the unusual prescription of alcohol by her doctor in the 1940s for a benign tumor he found. So she figured she better keep at it just in case, and she did for decades, before quitting drinking in the last few years of her life as she began to eat less and was restricted to a wheelchair and attended by her nurses. She owned the Pal's Duck Inn restaurant in Tennessee, where she was one of the first Black women to own a restaurant in the entire state. She moved to North Englewood with her second husband, Vincent Fenton, who passed away in 1970. Agnes stayed sharp as a tack until the very end. She could recall any memory of her life. A friend of hers that used to visit her regularly said, "When you would sit down with someone like that, listen to her story and the journey she took, you're talking to history." Thanks for watching, everyone. What did we learn today? What do you think the most valuable secret to a long life is? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these. See you next time. Bye.